Hello, everybody, and good afternoons. Welcome back to another video of my YouTube channel. Here's I would like to giving you and share to you my experience throughout the international finance class within Prof Roy Sembel. I think it's really insightful class, fun though, and also rich knowledge that just a little bit remember to continue the mind mapping that I already done in the first half, and then and next in this video we come into the second half, and I'm trying to combine it just like to recall to you what I've done within those international finance in my IPNI student as an IPNI student. Sorry. So first things first, just to recall to you the international finance first half experience. There we learn about the preview of corporate finance. If you want to run international finance, we should know what the corporate finance is. And also like we overview with international finance, what international is, and so on. Of course, if you learn about international finance, the first thing first that we should learn is about the forex market, because we exchange it, we trade it globally. Each country has their own currency, so to exchange the currency, its own value and so on. So we also learn about the forex market, what happens in the forex market. We also learn about the parity framework here. So we also the arbitrage, interest rate parity, and so on. We're also giving the learn about the exchange rate forecasting. Yeah, as the finance students, it's must for them or finance people also to has the ability to forecast or predict something. It is essential to the finance people. Basically, we predict the currency market there, and we beat the random. Okay, I think. Yeah, no, you know lah. And also we learn in week 6, we learn about currency risk management measurement. I mean, how to measure those currency risks, the type of risk, and so on. And we jump into the mid-semester review. Like we learn what we review the learn week 1 to week 6, and also Prof Roy review that we are as the grandchildren of Eugene Farmer, the Nobel Prize winner in economics in 2012 within the efficient market theory, which is we are as efficient market theory ideology person. Yeah, we should know that market is efficient. And also we know that we jump into the video of who needs expert if we can beat expert with random walk, but probably it's still needed. Since the market is efficient, so we don't need the expert and so on. But probably we should actually learn about the market itself. If you want to know what already done in the first half, just move to the link above here to understand what we run. I'm just here. I'm only recall it lah some several material of the first half, and we come into our main course in this video, guys. Second half of international finance is probably between the week 9 until the week 16. After the midterm in week 8, we'll review our midterms in week 9. The question, it should be not too hard, but quite tricky question. In the part part 3, I mean, we should giving the regressions untuk the price movement. The questions of the cases is the price movement, but I guess all of the students getting misunderstood within those questions, and they only jump into the price, not the price movement. So it's different. Yeah, it's different formula and the different data and different results. So Prof Roy just only giving us the time to revise our answer to make sure that we can improve the score or grade of our midterms. It's kind of bad if because the part 3 is really high score there, and yeah, it's fun to renew and make sure to change it and revise it our midterm, and probably I hope as the internal, like the finance people, you should be like having a clear understanding onto the cases that you face, like, because yeah, if you jump into the finance, you should understand if each invoice, each transactions, and especially if you jump into the auditor experience, you will handle with those things. If you do the mistake and the companies become bankrupt, or even you can lose some billion of dollar and bankrupt lah, ya. And so it's a must lah to understand and being like apa ya, teliti on those specific tasks. We move to the week 10, I guess. Is about the currency risk. After the week 9, in the week 10 with the currency risk, we already learned about risk exposure and measurement of currency within week 7, I guess lah, ya. And then there we will really learn that three exposure of risk exposure in currency, which is an economic exposure, a transactions exposure, and also translations exposure. Within those three things, as a finance people in the company, we should understand and to make sure that we don't get disturbing within those risks, but we got the benefit from this risk. So how to make sure that the company can manage the currency risk and turn the risk into the benefit? It's by covering within derivative. The derivative product, forward, futures, options, and so on is needed as the company who traded internationally or doing business with international. They should exchange the cash flow they has is different within the currency that the company buy the supply. And then so they should understand and make sure the translations of those cash flow is good for the company, giving a new value, like the high more value, not the lower value, to like getting gain for the company. Like they do the future or a future contract and forward contract with the bank, or maybe the JFX, or even the other parties, the other companies that has as the exporter people, exporter companies. Yeah, importer and exporter is different. So they do the transactions there, doing the future and future and forward contract to make sure that they can still get benefit of their transactions. And also we learn about the swaps. It's still quite related into the currency risk, since those people like having the predictions into one's currency. The swap is exchange your currency or even the cash within the other party to make sure that first the interest rate swaps. It probably the one party they believe that the floating interest rate is good, so they need the floating, but the other they believe that the fixed it's good. So yeah, they change it and they exchange those interest rate to benefit much each company. So yeah, that was about the interest rate and also the currency. Like two people with two party, two companies, two organizations, they has different view of currency they need about to operate their business. So they exchange and make sure this benefit for them. There is a contract for swaps. And also there is also the parties who done with interest rate and the combination lah, interest rate and currency swaps. It's fun though to understand, since they can like getting benefit and hinder from the risk of the currency risk, as we mentioned in week 10 and also in week 7, 3 risk exposure in the currency or foreign market. Okay, it's all of theoretical. We move to the trends in international finance, guys. It's quite tough cases about the pairing bank case, but interested since in the week 10, Prof Roy give an assignment to try to solve the problems of the case Baring Bank, because Baring is really already, I mean, more than 100 years bank, but they in UK, but being bankrupt with one person who trying to do the arbitrage. I think Singaporeans exchange into the Osaka. I forget the Japanese lah pokoknya. And then since the earthquake in Osaka, the market going to crash, and yeah, those person, this name is Nick Lesson. They try to cover and do the fraud within number of something in the report. So yeah, it's the people, I mean the bank itself getting lost up to 1.3 billion something and being bankrupt until nowadays. But it's really sad lah. So the lesson learned that we should know that the transparency is needed when we do this, the international market or international transactions. We do that arbitrage. We should do the arbitrage, the speculations towards something further. If you are a company that like want to do the transactions, I mean the huge money, you don't need to do by yourself, or yeah, I mean like your own self. You're just being alone. You need another expertise or a friends that has an experience and has another view to do the discussions to make sure that the transactions will be good for your company and you can handle from the risk itself. So it's really good, guys, although it's quite tough. And also we do the book review. Our group get the book of Joseph S. Stiglitz about the globalization and its discontent, especially in the era of President Trump. Yeah, I think it is published by IMF. I forget who's published it. Yeah, but I already discussed it within my group there, and yeah, I agree within the point that Stiglitz already a point on this book, since globalization should be like having a positive connotations there, but probably most of rich people try to get benefit of get advantage of those globalization practice, and in fact or and in evidence the gap between the richest and the poorest being like more wider since the globalization. And I do agree with this Stiglitz, this bestseller book, and you should read lah, or if you don't have time, says okay lah, just watch the video that I already put on those above. Our group already discussed it. So okay, we learn about trends. Now we also move to week 12. We present our international portfolio. If you still remember in our first half video, I mean my video in the first half, international finance mind map itself, we learn about investment simulation portfolio toward international market. Yeah, market lah ya, stock market. I mean like, so we choose our group, which is group 3, has 5 market there we invest. First foremost, it's must to put the Jakarta Composite Index. Another is put the FTSE 100, S&P 500, and also Nikkei 225. The last is BSA Sensex, Bombay, yeah, Sensex. So yeah, it's kind of unfortunately that our floating loss up to 6%. It's really bad investment lah ya. But it's still relevant since we are in this, the Ukraine war and Russia. It's disturbing the market. It can create market into the crash. I mean, and then yeah, a lot of people getting suffer with those things, and we only getting 6%. We probably like having the floating profit up to 5%, some things, but again, yeah, in the last period of reported, we only get the -6%, and yeah, Yeah, I think, but Prof Roy just comment that our analysis is good, and then they happy with our analysis, group analysis, and yeah, it's fun lah. That yeah, we only need the analysis lah. The final results, it's is kind of something we cannot solve or handle. At those week also, we get problems within the presentations that we suffer. Since then, Prof Roy give us the material how to do presentation skills. That the Prof Roy comment that our slide is not too good since too many words there and nothing like exact explanations, and also like having such not encourage all the audience or the participants, and then yeah, it's kind of boring something of our presentation. So he give us into the rich theory of presentations, some that apa ya, we should respect, and then we should empower the audience, empathy, I mean, then also like audible, the clarity, and also the holistic view of our uh, you know presentations, and they should be transformed in week 14, because we do the final presentations that can enhance our final grade of international finance. So I think it's quite good example and lesson learned in about presentation skill. As a finance student, we should present our report. Ya kan? Okay, it's quite long lah ya, but probably you still here with me. So move to the week 13. We jump into the more theoretical. If we do international finance for the company, we also done international finance in practical for the country, which is the competitive advantage of the country. So people can invest in such a certain country that want that they think that's prospect, usually for developed country, developed area. We are done with the theory of source of prosperity itself. There's two source of prosperity. First of inherited, like these short terms, and then not long lasting is limited also, since this dependency of like the natural resource that the countries has, the country that having the interest inherited a source of prosperity is Indonesia itself. Yeah, they don't do a lot of things. They only depend on the natural resource, and so yeah, it's limited. If the natural resource it's habis, and then yeah, what is their competitive advantage? That yeah, it's still a benefit lah. And then we also learn about the source of the creative source of created source of prosperity there for the country that don't depend on natural resources. They do a lot of innovations. They created and try to do new changes of their competitive advantage, and they become more into the long term. Also giving a new apa ya, I think it's costly in the first, but in the future there unlimited source of prosperity. It's cool, good lah. It's already done by developed country like US and Japan, China, and so on. China, I think they can combine those source of prosperities, and so good. Further, to analyze this competitive advantage for the country, the known expertise strategic management tools is Porter already established the Porter's diamonds, when it's combination of strategy, factor conditions, and also demand conditions, and also supply or support of industry within the country. And yeah, it's needed lah to make sure that this country it's good or not to do investment. And yeah, we get the assignment toward those with 13 of foreign direct investment, that we should present the Indonesia competitive advantage. Let's move to the week 14 of our final presentations. Here we learn about the crisis of the world, guys. Yeah, it's related to week 11 like I said, the trends itself. So the crisis that we discussed, it is only 4, probably should be 5, but because the group is only 4 in this class, the students in insufficient. So yeah, we only discuss a 4 crisis. We don't discuss the COVID economic crisis, but it's still fun. So like for our group getting the experience to deliver to analyze also the case of the Great Depressions in early 19th century, guys. So when the stock market crash, and also there is mass unemployment, there is high inflation, a lot of people being hungry. Yeah, it's such the bad things happens in the world those times. And at the end of the day of the crisis, it come World War II. Yeah. So most of people believe that a crisis usually jump into the war. There is quite correlations between crisis with war. Yeah, I think it's really interested crisis. Second international crisis that we discussed is about the European crisis in 2011, 2012. I guess you know that some European countries, the South European countries, especially Greece, Spain, Belarus, and also Portugal, they suffer with the debt for their country, and Greece itself. Yeah, they face the bankruptcy because they can handle the debt for their country. Yeah, those also good to know. But we also learn about the Indonesia crisis, guys. In the week in the 1966, when the ending of era of President Sukarno and the new era of new order, President Soeharto, who controlled the governments of Indonesia itself, there is a crisis like the inflation rate and so on. But the bone of the Barkeley Mafia is here, and that those people try to be an advisor of economic. They jump into the Barkeley consists of Pak Sumitro, Pak Wijoyo, Pak Emil Salim, and so on. I think they are all the alumni of California University, and then of economic player, and now they try to implement the liberal economic ideology in Indonesia, not too panchaliastic. But I think it's quite good lah. They can, it's good. It's good. They can handle those crises, and nowadays, like Indonesia can suffer. Although in 1998, Indonesia still getting the other crisis. It is a worldwide bubble when the values of money is decreasing. So it's not their mistake lah. Since then, we also learned about the 1998 crisis, when the value of money just like it dropped so much, and then it's unvaluable lah. The money is unvaluable. People spend more into the commodity rather than money itself. Like also like things that the gold, it's more benefit, more valuable rather than the money itself. So since then, I think the Barkeley Mafia is quite interesting topic those times, since until now still the people as an economic advisor who who assign as economic crucial sector of Indonesia itself is led by people who graduated from the US based country, university, like Bu Sri Mulyani and Pak Bambang Purusegoro is graduated from there. And also like University of Indonesia, they tend to be more liberal economic ideology, but it's still good lah. It's still good until they can solve some problems, especially nowadays. If you talk about the crisis of the COVID, how suffer Bustari and the teams to solve the problems of economic itself and make sure Indonesia can survive within those concepts. That give applause for them. And yeah, the last things in the week 15th, we review all the things from week 1 until week 14th. And Prof Roy also give us his comment into the BKPM itself, the establishing of new kawasan industry in the Central Java there, and how he managed and how he make sure that the investor want to invest in Indonesia to build a factory, to build their as a company to in Indonesia itself is really it's very good one project that Prof done. Also, we learn about martabak life lessons. I mean, it should be like cake life lessons, but I changed it into the martabak, guys. Yeah, since we learn that life it should be having another view, and we solve the problems. We make sure that we should have a creative thinking, also like having another dimensions when to cut the problem, solve the problems, and so on. Prof Roy also like giving us the value of life. I mean, the age we should be happy, and we should be like stay hungry. We should empower our hand, our heart, and also like hopefully on thinking holistic view. Yeah, some of the lesson learned that we also ended the class within, I mean, that like a sad experience lah ya, that we already done with international finance regarding my journey with me. So yeah, guys, maybe that's all of my mind mapping of entire international finance class. I hope it is beneficial for you guys. If you have any comment, please write it down below. Or if you like the video, please click the button of like, and don't forget to subscribe. I think that's all of my presentation. Thank you so much. Bye bye. See you to the other video. Dadah.